Hello guys, and welcome back to Getting Started with LabVIEW in LabVIEW Community version. Today we will be looking into basic string operations in LabVIEW. In most programming language, we have encountered how to use string and how do we manipulate strings in those programming language. The same can also be done in LabVIEW. Today we will look into a very simple example on how we can actually use the LabVIEW string control and indicator control, and as well as the function available in the block diagram that is related to strings. So I think the first one is how we can actually use to display strings in LabVIEW. As you can see here, I have actually divided into 6 parts here. Each of these 6 parts actually shows the basic operations of strings, and these are very common string operations that use in LabVIEW. So the first one is a very simple and straightforward example, which is the string display, where we have number one is the write control indicator here, write control, and we have the display here. So to run this example is actually very simple. We will write a very simple hello world here in the control, and when we press run, it will display here in the indicator. So that is the example number one. Now for example number 2 here, as you can see, we have a string control on the block diagram, and we also have the number of characters, and we have a function here which is called string length, and you can find this function here in the functions palette. You have to go to strings, and you can see this is the first function that is available in the string palette. What does this function do is it just simply counts the number of characters inside the string control and return a numeric value of that character. So for example, if we type in the word hello here, and as we know that we have 5 characters here, it will just simply return the number 5. So this is a very good function of counting the number of strings. And for the third example, we have here text1 and text2, and we have a function here concatenate strings. This is a very common function that is available in other programming language as well. So you can also find this in the second function here, concatenate strings. And now we're going to do here, we're just going to type in here hello for first string, and for the next string we type hello world, and the expected output is going to be hello world. But what you notice here is that there is a join. Both of the string has been joined together, and in this function of concatenate string you can actually add as many input as you want. So first what you need to do is try to hover your mouse over the concatenate string, and you notice that there is a blue dot on the top and the bottom of the function. What you need to do is you just need to make sure that you can hold the mouse click and you can drag it to increase the number of input. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put in an empty string here. So let me just delete this line here and put in here in the middle input. So we have 3 inputs, the middle one is empty, so I'm just going to create an empty constant and put a space. So now what happens here is that I'll have a hello world with a space. So this is a very simple and a very straightforward function of concatenate string. The next is where we have the example of how are we going to search a certain substrings inside a function. So we have this thing here called the search and split string. You can find this in the functions palette, and if you do not see it here, you need to go to the additional string functions, and you can see there is this function here called search and split string. So what it does is it search a particular string or a substring or a character inside a string, and it just breaks into the match and before the match and after the match. So let's try an example here. So we have here, I type in here Wednesday, and the particular string or character that I'm looking for here is NES, which is the NES in the middle. So when I run this, what it does is it will actually return me the first match of that string, which is NES, together with the remaining string. And you will also have a function here which is substring before match, which is up here. So it will return the characters before the match. So the expected here is I'm going to have WED, and the rest here is going to be NESDAY. So you can actually use this to search a particular string or a substring or even a character, and it will return the remaining match together with the rest of the string. So this is a search and split function. The next is the string subset. You can find the string subset here in the third function of the string palette. So what it does is you can actually type in any word here, for example Monday, and what it's going to do is you have an input here which is called the offset. So what it does is you actually indicate the position of the index of that string, and then it returns that particular substring that is corresponding to the index. Because if you see a string is pretty much like an array of characters. So if I were to run this and leave an offset of 0, it will just return me Monday. But if I increase the offset and I press run, it will return me index 1 together with the remaining of the string. So if I return, for example, index number 3, it will return me DAY. So you can think of this like an array of characters. And lastly, we have the replace the substring. Let's say you have a string and you want to replace a particular character or a substring within that string. You can use this function called replace substring. This replace substring, you can find this in this again in the string palette itself. So what I do is I have a original string which I already put in here, one piece, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna search a particular string based on the offset position and replace that particular substring. So if I put the offset position 0, it's going to replace the word from the index of 0 of the original string. So if I put here, for example, 2, or put here 2, it will replace the index 0 and it will replace the entire string with the number of string that is available here. So to show this, let me just do this. The expected outcome is going to be 2p's. So as you can see here, you have the 2p's and the replace substring was actually 1. Now to show a more clearer example on this, let's say I have Monday and I want to replace in the offset position, I want to replace in the index position 1, and I want to replace a substring to, for example, ER, or let's put E in. So it's going to be Monday. So if I run this, I'm going to have Monday. So it just replaced that particular position of the index with the number, with the length of string of E. So if I put ER, so it's gonna be Monday. So this is one simple example, and pretty much this is the common basic string operations that you often find not only in LabVIEW but also in other programming language, which you can also do it in LabVIEW itself. So if you have any questions or any queries on how to use LabVIEW or how to use LabVIEW with certain functions that you need, please put in the comment below and I'll try to make a video out of it. Thank you so much for your time.